We're asking questions tonight after Ohio voters rejected issue 1 during the special election. That means it will only take a simple majority to amend the state's constitution. That means 50% of the vote plus one more vote, that instead of the 60% that would have been required if the issue would have passed. Joining us once again tonight is Cedarville University Professor of History and Law, Dr. Mark Clausen. Thank you again for joining us once again tonight, Dr. Clausen. Let's start with the groups campaigning on each side of that issue. They were each projecting confidence going into Election Day. However, many political scientists themselves were just unsure how it would go. What's your reaction?
Well, I can understand why they would think that. I kind of had a feeling that it would fail because of the way it was being advertised and the way that the opponents of the amendment framed the issue. I thought they were more effective, actually, in framing the issue than the other side was. But yeah, it was. I did expect it to be closer than it was. That's what surprised me. 57-43, roughly, the percentages. That's a little bit bigger margin than I thought.
Dr. Clausen, Ohio has appeared to be becoming more red in the last decade. Mr. Trump won the state in 2016 and 2020 in the presidential election by 8 points each time. Governor DeWine won re-election in a landslide despite not being popular with Trump supporters. And this seemed like a very red issue. What does then this tell us about the Ohio electorate?
Yeah, it did seem like a red issue. And also, I'm going to say that the Ohio has not really changed. There's been no real shift because of this election, but the way it was framed and some of the odd coalitions that you saw, there were some groups who are typically on the right who were against this amendment because they believed it wouldn't get, if it passed, it wouldn't allow them to put their particular amendments on the ballot. So they sided with the no votes on that, and that kind of helped push a little bit. And then there was this claim made by the other side, very effective claim, that this would ruin democracy, this would ruin one man, one vote. And they tied it to the abortion issue, the abortion amendment in November. That didn't help at all with certain groups of people, too.
Well, looking ahead to November, which most people are already doing as to the impact that it will have then, what do you think it'll have impact-wise on voter motivation as well as turnout, as the passion for both campaigns that we're going to see this November are expected to be very heated?
This is going to be a hot one. It's going to be a lot of money spent on advertising, going to be a lot of interest in this particular kind of issue. And I think that the conservative side, the anti-abortion side, will have learned some of their lessons. And then the other side will, of course, continue with their effective campaign, which I think is to sort of say, no, we know you don't want unrestricted abortion, but we also know you don't want no abortion. So in the middle, we think that's what our amendment is about. We'll see whether the amendment is actually framed precisely that way and whether they will convince people.
Special election is over. A brief time out before we look ahead 3 months down the road for the election this upcoming November, where we will see some very heated campaigns leading up to that election. Dr. Mark Clausen, Professor of History and Law at Cedarville University, thank you so much for joining us again tonight.